What's going on, guys? Welcome on to today's video. Today we're at Bransons over in Yeovil and we are taking out the Tracer 9 GT 2021. Before we start getting into this video, massive shout out to Bransons Motorcycles over in Yeovil for being the first supporter of this channel. All their details will be in the description box below, so please head down, go over to their website. As you can see behind the bike there, Bransons Motorcycles have got a Honda dealership, and then this side of the road they've got Kawasaki and Yamaha. This is the first time I've ever been on a Tracer 900. And this is the GT model. Straight off the bat, without looking at anything else, it's smooth, the quick shifter works beautifully, and it just handles, it just flicks from side to side really easily. Bransons, they're amazing. They've lent us this bike for 4 days, so we're going to make sure we utilise this as best we can. I'm going to do some long day rides, see how many miles we can get per tank, because obviously at the minute, the fuel crisis, the more miles you can get, the more bang for your buck. So currently this bike is sitting at 342 miles from new. We'll see how many miles we get done in the 4 days. So remembering this is still within the break-in service period of 600 miles. So we're going to take it easy, but we're definitely going to see what this bike can give us. See how it handles. For this slow speed traffic style riding, I'm 6 foot and I can just about get both feet flat on the ground. You've got that CP3 900cc bike in this, just like the MT-09, and it's just got that induction roar about it. Sounds really nice. Stock exhaust as well, so I love a bike that sounds good with a stock exhaust. So let's face it, there's only two reasons why you change an exhaust: because it looks ugly or it sounds rubbish. Exhausts nowadays are expensive as well. So if you're able to save yourself a few pennies on that because this bike sounds good and the exhaust looks good, then that's always worth it in my eyes. This bike does have electronic suspension, so it will adjust to the road conditions ahead. And as always though, you can change the suspension modes in the settings, and we'll go through that a little bit later on. Just listen to that quick shifter up and down from the factory. It is spot on. As I'm riding along, my knees are at a comfortable bent position, but maybe the foot pegs are a little bit underneath my bum. Maybe they could be forward just a smidge, just to release that angle on the knee a little bit. We'll see how it does over a long distance riding, but at the minute, for a short distance, short journey around town, absolutely no dramas. One thing I really like about this bike is that it actually comes with the panniers as standard. So as soon as you buy the bike, panniers come with it. when I bought my MT10, I had to buy the panniers, and that probably set me back a good £600–700 for the bracket and the panniers itself. So straight away you're saving yourself some cash dollar, and as this is a touring style bike, I think it's really good that they've added it in. These are the Yamaha issued panniers. Once again, they come with the bike, so it's really nice to see. It's got that full touring package. With these, really good mechanism, so I'll put them on and off. So there's a key at the top. On the top then we've got 3 locations for the key. Currently it's set to the lock, which is the dead centre. Moving to the left of that is the unlock, so that's where the panniers will come off. And then to the right at the 3 o'clock position, that's how you're going to open the side pannier without it coming off the bike. So to open up the side casing, all you're going to do is turn the key to the right. From there, it's got this little button on the top. You're going to push that and this flap pops up. Once that's popped up, got a little lip here, and you can just pull the case towards you. As you can tell, I have got the 5 litre jerry can in there. It fits in, and there's still space all around it. You get your hand right to the back there. So with the fuel shortage as it is, it's nice to have a little bit of extra on you, so you're not worried about finding a petrol station. It's got this little Y-shaped strap to hold any bags or anything hitting you got to stop it falling out as soon as you open the case. Nice little touch. Now to close it, you're going to lift it up, make sure nothing's catching. Going to push it shut, push that flap down, and that's it. From there, last little thing you're going to do is put it back into the lock position. Taking the pannier off, all you're going to do, once again, put the key in. You're going to turn it to the 10 o'clock position. From there, the handle's going to pop up. Going to lift the handle up, push the square button to the right hand side again. The centre flap comes up. From there, you're just going to lift and take it away, and that is as simple as that. This is all that's left on the bike, is this silver bracket at the top, and then this lower case bracket which fits onto the rear of the passenger peg. Very nice, sleek design. Couldn't really tell that's what it was for unless you were told. Putting it back on, exactly the same as reverse. Find the 2 hooks at the top, slide the rear in, push the flap down, make sure the keys are out of the way, push the handle down, put the key into the lock position, take the key out, and that is it. From there, panniers are on. Really nice and simple. And as I said before, massive shout out to Bransons Motorcycles at Yeovil for lending us this bike. They are now the first supporter of the D.S.R channel, and it's a great achievement for us over here. We've only been going for a few months, but they really like our content. They're happy with the level that we're producing our videos at, and they wanted to be associated with us. So watch out for more demo bikes, long-term bikes, and we'll definitely be getting on some used bike as well. So we're going to try and do some comparison videos between, let's say, an old R1 and a new R1. If there's any videos you want to see us create, please get in contact, and we'll be sure to speak to Bransons and see what we can do for you. So far, the only way I've been able to get this front end to come up properly is by turning the traction control off completely. With the traction control, you've got M, 1, 2 and off. And like I said, the only way so far for it to come up properly is with me turning it off completely. I prefer my bikes to be able to have the traction control on and still be able to wheelie. I don't like it when the lowest traction control still stops me front end coming up. I'd like to be able to have that bit of fun. Today it was raining this morning, so the ground's still a little bit damp. I don't really fancy having the traction control off all the time, but I still like to have my fun with the front end. So you got to pick your moments when you want to turn your traction control off. To turn it off, have the bike in neutral, and then you're going to hold the top arrow up for 3 seconds, and then it will turn off. 1, hold it down, and then turns it off. Turn it back on, push down once, and then you go traction control back on, and then you can flick through between the 2, or between 3. So for this adjustable windscreen, all you need to do is finger and thumb, pinch there, and lower it down and push it in place. And then bring it back up, pinch again, bring it up. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be okay. Oh. As always with electronics, they do not mix with water. Yesterday, me and Zoe went over to Wales and it was probably the wettest I've ever been on a bike. And because of that, the audio's failed on yesterday's ride completely. So I'm back out today before I head off to work to try and refilm what I missed yesterday. C'est la vie, any excuse to get on a bike. So for the starting price for this bike, it is £12,202. As bikes go nowadays, that's not overly expensive, but what I do like is you get a lot for your money, I feel, within that package price. Like I've mentioned throughout this video, you've got the cornering lights, LEDs all round, the hand guards, you get the panniers, which I really like, you've got a 12-volt socket, you've got heated grips, you've got cruise control, you've got your 6-axis IMU. There's a lot that comes within this bike for that price. As you can tell, I've got this one in red. It comes in two other colours, which is the black, or what I call the SP colours. As with most things, you can upgrade the touring pack side. So there's two levels of upgrade. The first one being around £650, where you will get the back box, the back rack, and a couple of little bits. And the biggest one being just over £2,000, where you get everything. So what you can see on the screen now is taken directly from Yamaha's website. That is everything that will come within those two touring packages, the £650 and the one that's just over £2,000. Tell me what you think. Is this bike standard enough of a package for you to go touring on, or would you get one of those two packages? And if you would, which one would you get? This morning it is only 9 degrees, it is starting to get chilly, and I tell you what, I am grateful for these heated grips. I've got mine set on level 5 so far, which is only halfway. So you've got off, and then from 1 all the way to the 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, of different heat settings. To turn on the heated grips, on the right hand thumb you've got a toggle that'll go through the menu on the TFT screen itself. Keep rotating the toggle until you get into the heated grips. Once you've done that, press enter on the same toggle, and then from there you're just going to rotate it, picking what heat setting you want. Remember, in between 1 to 10, and then when it starts warming up you can just turn it off. Unfortunately we don't have the footage from yesterday's ride because the battery died as well, but we did get 177 miles before we started going into the reserve. So I was riding fairly conservative because it was tipping it down, but to me that's pretty good from a touring bike. My MT10, anything from 85 to 110 miles. Anyone who's ever owned an MT10 knows exactly what I'm on about. You spend more time in a petrol station than anything else. These side cases that come with it, I've currently got a 5 litre jerry can inside there, absolutely no dramas. So if you want to take a little bit of fuel with you on your touring, then you're going to have plenty of space to utilise those side cases. So checking out the handlebar from left to right, on the left hand side, with your index finger you've got a mode selector. You can pull that and it will change between the suspension, the traction control and the rider throttle response mode. Once you've toggled with that mode button to the modes you want to select, you've then got these up and down arrows. From there you're just going to push them up or down depending which way you want to go. On the throttle modes you've got 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 being high with the most snappy throttle response, and then 4 being most dulled down. Yesterday when it's absolutely tipping it down, I had it in 4, just to have that nice smooth power delivery and control wasn't spinning up that rear wheel. Today the ground is still damp, so I've got it set on 3 currently, and I've got actually no dramas with the bike or the tyres on this type of ground. Moving on from the mode and the selector button, we've got our normal passing beam and our high beam. Under that, we've got our indicators left and right, and a good solid fill, so you know exactly when it's gone in and when you've turned it off. The last few KTMs I've test rode have been a very soft fill, and half the time I've had to check to see whether I'm actually stopped indicating or not, which I don't really like. Underneath that, the old traditional horn. To the right of the horn, we have the hazard light. It's always nice to see that a bike's got a hazard button. And then coming up from the hazard button, we've got the cruise control. Remember, cruise control comes standard on this bike. Like my previous MT10 with the cruise control, to get that activated, you need to be in gear 4 or higher. So 4, 5 and 6. So you're going to push the centre button to activate it, and there you can see the cruise control lights come on in the top right hand corner. Get yourself in 4th gear, and then anything above 28 miles an hour. So then to activate it, you've got the set button on the cruise control segment. Push that down, and there you go. Next to the cruise control light, you can see the green word saying set, and that's it, it's set. Happily going along, 32 miles an hour, 4th gear. To deactivate it, you can pull the clutch in. Once it's deactivated, if you want to reset it, the RES button at the top, push that, and then we're back in play. It'll get you back to the 32 miles an hour and cruise along nicely. Another way to deactivate it, either the front brake or the rear brake, touch that at any point and it will cut off straight away. And another thing I like, same on the MT10 with the throttle, if you rotate it forward, it will then deactivate the cruise control as well. So you don't need to dab any of the brakes or pull the clutch in to deactivate it. If you've just got your hand on the accelerator, you can just roll that throttle forward and then it will cut it out. Once you're happy you don't need cruise control anymore, push the centre button again and then the light turns off. On the right hand side, you've got the integrated kill switch and starter button, and then underneath that is that menu toggle button I was on about, which will then switch through the screens on your TFT. Obviously straight from the back you can see there are 2 TFT screens on this bike. The left hand side is all your standard information that you would find. Your rev counter, your speed, your gear, your fuel, time, what traction control mode you're in, what throttle mode you're in, and you've then got your heated grip symbol as well. The right hand side, that is completely customizable. You've got 4 segments and you can rotate through any of the settings that it has in there that you want to have on show. Currently I have got the fuel in the top left, the odometer on the top right, the air temperature bottom left, and my trip 1 on the bottom right. I've got the trip 1 over that side because on the left hand screen I've put in the trip 2. I've also made sure I've still got the fuel on the left hand side one as well, just so there's no excuse for me realising I've run out of fuel. I wasn't sure how I was going to like having the 2 screens like that, but actually really easy to see, nice and clear, so I'm happy with that. What would be nice to see if on the right hand side you could have some form of navigational display, even if it was just the corner and the distance till that corner. Obviously I know KTM, they've got the KTM My Ride app, and on the 1290 Duke and the Adventure etc you can see that information. It's basic, it's not the whole display like this, you can see it is literally just turn left in 4 miles. Something like that on a touring style bike I think would be premium. So Yamaha, sort your life out and let's make it happen. If you want someone to test it, let me know and I will get on that for you. For anyone interested, I'm currently using the Kalimoto app. I've got the south of the UK region for free. You can pick obviously whatever region you're from, and I think this is absolutely ideal. Google Maps, alright, it's good to getting you from A to B, but this, it will find the twisty routes. You can either have it do a round trip from your location, i.e. from your house, from your start point. You can do a round trip by telling it how many miles you want to do on that trip, or you can plan a route and you can tell it how much of a twisty road do you want to go. Do you want it on the motorway? Do you want it on the A road, the B road? So far I'm just using the free version, but you can pay a yearly subscription of $42.99 and that will unlock all the premium capabilities of this app. They do have a really good website as well. So you can plan your full route, as long as you've got the full premium subscription. You can plan your full route on the computer, press save, open up your Calimoto app on your phone, and there it is saved in your rides. When I'm able to get away doing a bit more touring, I'm definitely going to look at purchasing the yearly subscription, because I think having a dedicated motorcycle style app is perfect. If you want me to do a full review on how I use the Calimoto app on the phone and the computer, let me know in the comments below and I'll get that video made. So yesterday I was wearing full textiles because I did know it was going to rain, but not that much. I was wearing full textiles. The trousers are a little bit tight, and I did find that the back of my bum was hitting the passenger seat, and actually after a couple of hours the rear of my bum was getting numb. Today I'm back in my riding jeans because I'm just going out for a quick one, and I've got more room in the hip department. That means my back isn't touching it, so I can't feel it. So if I was going to get this bike, I'd have to get some bigger trousers or lose some weight. Easy to buy some bigger trousers. Yesterday we were out on a bike for several hours, and I did start to find that my feet were going a bit numb. I feel like the pegs are just a little bit too far underneath me for my riding position. Tried to move my bum back to get my knees a little bit straighter, so rather than not having so much of a bend, but because of the curvature of the seat, my bum just slides back down. Your bum's kind of forced into that one position. From there your knees go naturally into the position when they're on the pegs, and there's not really much variations you can do from there. I don't know whether one of the comfort seats or maybe the heated seats that Yamaha provide would fix that, would alleviate that problem, but if I was going to buy this bike I'd have to look at that. As always, you can change the pegs, so maybe getting a new set of pegs and actually bringing them forward slightly might help, but it wasn't the most comfortable with my bum going numb and then my feet starting to go numb. It wasn't ideal for my first bit of touring. So with this screen, I do find the wind hits the top of my helmet and it's not too bad, the buffer inside. If I put the screen down into the lowest position, I find that then the wind kind of comes towards the chin of my helmet. So the noise wise it does increase when you have a lower screen. With the lower screen though, I can see a bit more of the road without having anything in the way of my vision, like the top of the screen there. So it's a compromise. How windy is it? How much is it affecting you? How noisy is it? Everyone's got their own levels of what's too much, what they want. On the MT10 it had no screen, so you just had the full wind hitting you on the front, but that was spread across your whole body, the whole torso and your head, so you didn't get any specific buffer in areas. Whereas with any screen and it starts hitting your helmet, you are going to potentially run into the areas of buffeting. I know you can get the clip-on screens that add an extra 3-4 inches on top just to flick the air up over. If I was doing long distance touring, going over to Europe etc, I'd probably add one of those, but like I said, you adding that on top and you're now going to start getting quite a bit in your vision line, so it's a compromise. What works for you, what doesn't work. So apart from the numb bum, the numb feet, the other issue I have with this bike, and it was exactly the same with the MT10, is for me the brakes just aren't on point. I like my braking to be one finger, so as soon as I start pulling that brake lever in, I'm on it. With the MT10, because it wasn't up to point, before I even took it out of the showroom, I added Brembo cinder pads and Hell braided lines. When that come out, I tell you what, world of difference. I know people went a step further and they changed the discs, they changed the master cylinder. At the time I didn't have the funds for all that, so I done what I could on the budget I had, and I tell you what, 100% glad I done that. Same with this, before doing the Hell braided lines I would change the pads, get a fresh set of pads in there, see if that helps. There's just not enough bite. I know Zoe would probably get on this and be like, oh, there's too much bite, and she likes a nice gentle feel. I ride a little bit more aggressive, not in the wet, so when I want to brake, I want to be braking. I tell you what a lovely day. Yesterday was absolutely disgusting. We were about an hour and a half into Wales above Brecon, when we decided to turn around because the weather was too bad. From that turnaround point all the way back home, so a good 2.5 hours, 3 hours, it was raining solid. Worst part's been on the motorway with the spray, with the lorries, just can't see. Zoe's on her little 390, and obviously the curb weight of that plus the smaller tyre size, she did feel like she was getting thrown around a bit with the wind being thrown off the lorries, etc. So that's another drawback from the smaller bike, smaller cc plus the smaller tyre size. Hopefully though it won't be too long until she upgrades to something a little bit bigger, because she's definitely progressing really nicely with her riding, and it's just time. I've got my 690, it's definitely time in the next few months for me to upgrade that. If you've seen any of my 690 videos, you know that I cannot get on with that seat. If you want to see any of those videos, the 390 card will be above and the 690 video will be after that.
This is actually the first time I've been on the back with Matt riding. I've only ever been on the back once, and I was about 14 years old at the time, so it's a new experience. With the Tracer 9 GT, makes it pretty easy. The foot pegs are in a nice comfortable position. My knees aren't too bent. I can sit upright and feel actually very comfortable on the back of this. We're using love handles, but otherwise the handles are underneath the pillion seat. But I'm going to stick to using the love handles because I find that a little bit more comfortable. A comfortable seat back here for the passenger. I like the position. I'm not sure I fancy being on the back too long with Matt riding, with anyone riding. But you can certainly be comfortable enough if this is your thing. I have given this bike a little ride. Seat height is not too dissimilar to my 390, actually coming in at about 820. For me, I feel like it's just a little bit too big. The weight distribution is pretty good, as in my centre of gravity is alright compared to some of the adventures that I've ridden, but in this case I actually prefer being on the back, I think.
There we go guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content just like this. Once again, massive shout out to Bransons Motorcycles over in Yeovil for lending us this demo bike. We'll make sure we bring plenty more content just like this with all the new bikes coming out, especially as we're starting to get towards the new 2022 season. Until next time, see you then.